This year is my year. How many times have you said that? How many times have you promised that this time will be different? That you'll delete TikTok, wake up at 5 in the morning, meditate, fast, build an empire from scratch while taking cold showers and listening to self-help podcasts. And for a few days, it even seems like it's going to work. The energy comes, the plan is made, the apps are uninstalled, but suddenly, 2 weeks later, you find yourself back where you started, unmotivated, tired, guilty, wondering why it seems so easy in theory and so impossible in practice. This is the tragic comedy of our generation. We are experts at starting, addicted to the feeling of a fresh start. We believe that the simple act of declaring change is change itself, but it's not. And over time, this takes a heavy toll, because the more you promise and don't deliver, the less you believe in yourself. And there comes a time when even your words no longer convince you. You don't trust your own beginnings. And the cruelest part? It's not because of a lack of information. You have access to everything. You know exactly what to do. But knowing isn't doing. And doing hurts. Doing is tiring. Doing requires consistency. And consistency in the world of instant dopamine has become an almost heroic act. You're surrounded by easy rewards, tempting shortcuts, distractions designed to defeat your willpower. And in the meantime, your discipline dissolves into notifications. But maybe what no one told you is that you don't have to be a superhero. You just have to keep going. Even when you don't feel like it, even when you're not motivated, even when you fail, keep going. Because progress isn't a leap, it's a silent repetition. And if you have a real reason, not a pretty reason, but a reason that hurts inside, then you'll get there. Maybe not quickly, maybe not perfectly, but you will. And that's what this video is about stopping performing change and finally committing to it for real. The problem has never been a lack of willpower. It's easy to want to change at 2 a.m. in the heat of the moment, with your phone in your hand and an inspirational video on the screen. The hard part is sustaining that momentum after it evaporates. Most people don't fail because of weakness, but because of a lack of direction. They say they want to change, but they don't know why. And without a strong why, any attempt becomes another cycle of frustration. Waking up at 5 in the morning, deleting social media, trying to meditate or exercise becomes just another performative ritual, another play in a theater that the mind creates to make it seem like something is happening, when, in fact, everything remains the same. Neuroscience shows that the human brain is designed to conserve energy. It seeks predictable routines, quick pleasure, and security. And anything that requires prolonged effort without immediate reward is automatically labeled as a threat. That's why your brain will do everything it can to sabotage what you swore you would do. It offers you convincing excuses, pushes you toward procrastination, disguises escape with logic. And if you don't have a visceral, emotional, and deeply personal reason, you will give in. Not because you are weak, but because you are being controlled by a system that was never trained for big goals, only for survival. That's why you wake up excited one day and give up the next. Why the first workout is exciting, but the second is already tiring. Why starting is easy, but continuing feels like punishment. And it all comes down to the absence of a clear purpose. If your goal is vague, like I want to be rich or I want to get in shape, it doesn't have the strength to survive the impact of routine. But when the reason is real, like I want to stop being a joke or I need to prove to myself that I can do it, the game changes. Because that pain drives you, and pain, when channeled properly, is much more powerful than fleeting motivation. Without it, any obstacle becomes an end. Any difficulty seems like a sign that it's not worth it. But when your why is so true that it hurts, you keep going even when you're in pain, even when you're tired, even when you don't see results. Not because it's easy, but because stopping would be even more unbearable. But having a reason isn't enough if it's not strong enough to wake you up, even when everything in you wants to sleep. The problem is that most people don't build that reason. They copy it. They want six-pack abs because they saw someone with them. They want money because they heard that freedom comes with wealth. But they can't sustain the effort because they don't have something internal, something true, that pushes them when the motivation disappears. And it always disappears. At some point, fatigue sets in, frustration hits, and results don't come. And that's when the weak reason crumbles. Have you noticed how easy it is to get up when someone is waiting for you? How you wake up earlier for a job you don't like, but are late or ignore your own personal projects? This is because we have been conditioned to obey the external, not the internal. We live to please our boss, our teacher, the algorithm. But when it comes to keeping a promise we made to ourselves, we accept failure with an "it's okay." And it's not okay. Every broken promise is a crack in your self-confidence. Little by little, you stop believing in yourself. You start to doubt even when you're really trying. Focus, contrary to what internet gurus say, is not about unlimited energy or waking up at 4 a.m. full of enthusiasm. It's about presence. It's about being fully engaged in what you're doing, even when your head is screaming to stop. And that's only possible when the goal that drives you has such emotional weight that it leaves no room for doubt. A strong reason turns action into necessity. It's no longer, "I'll try to go to the gym." It's, "I need to go, otherwise I'm betraying myself." It's no longer, "I want to study more." It's, "If I don't do this, I'll stay exactly where I am." But this only works if you understand that real progress isn't glamorous. It doesn't come with applause. It comes with silence, with frustration, with mediocre days that seem to lead nowhere. No one posts the moment they considered giving up but kept going anyway. Those are the moments that shape the outcome. Because focus isn't temporary intensity. It's emotional endurance. It's enduring boredom. It's not letting the lack of immediate results be confused with a lack of progress. Consistent effort is silent, but it's what builds everything that seems impossible. The truth that no one wants to admit is that we are addicted to shortcuts. We look for the right video, the right tip, the magic phrase that will finally make us take action. But no hack can replace consistency, and that is precisely what we avoid the most. Because consistency is the opposite of euphoria. There is no background music, no feed of likes, no explosive feeling of victory. It's just you, time, and repetition. And that's why almost no one makes it to the end. The modern world has trained us for this. Everything is just a click away. If something takes more than 10 seconds, we move on. If the video doesn't grab us in 5 seconds, we skip it. This logic has been ingrained so deeply that our tolerance for frustration has disappeared. We expect life to behave like TikTok, fast, rewarding, exciting. But reality doesn't have a skip button. The results that matter take months, sometimes years, to appear. And most of the time, nothing extraordinary happens. Just silence, doubt, and progress so slow it seems invisible. And that's where many give up, because they confuse lack of sparkle with lack of progress, as if things are only worthwhile if they are grand, documented, celebrated. But real discipline is discreet. It's opening the book on the day your head can't take it anymore. It's running when no one's watching. It's doing what you said you would do, even after the excitement has died down. And that doesn't generate applause, only results. So when you see someone who has built something solid, you can be sure there were more bad days than good ones, more fatigue than motivation, more failed attempts than brilliant plans. Most people want transformation without crossing the desert. They think 6 months of effort will be enough, as if there were a definitive finish line. But there isn't. Real progress isn't an explosion, it's erosion. It's like the Grand Canyon. It didn't come from a single event. It came from millions of repetitions, from micro actions that seemed useless on the day they were done. But they kept being done. And that's what almost no one can stand. The absence of glory, the continuous discomfort, the effort without an audience. It's much easier to look focused than to be focused. Posting monk mode activated sounds committed, but it doesn't change anything if, when the phone is turned off, nothing gets done. Performance never beats real work, and your brain knows it. It feels every lie you tell yourself. And over time, it begins to discredit every promise you make in the mirror. The most ironic thing is that even when we know what needs to be done, we keep looking for something new. A new planner, a new motivational video, a new guru who tells us what we've heard 1,000 times before. Because the truth hurts. You don't need more information. You need to take action. But taking action requires sacrifice, and that's scary. It forces you to abandon the comfort you hold so dear. Doing forces you to confront that part of your mind that says, let's just procrastinate a little longer. And it's not about intensity, it's about continuity. The difference between those who succeed and those who only try is how many times they came back after failing. Because failure is not stopping. Failure is stopping trying. Most people show up with 100% energy for 3 days and then disappear for 3 months. They live in a cycle of sudden motivation. And they don't realize that motivation shouldn't be the engine. It should just be the initial push. The engine is the reason, the repetition, the silent commitment. And that's not exciting. It's lonely, boring, and tiring, but it's real. I remember when I tried to follow a workout video as a teenager. I did the exercises enthusiastically until I realized that I had to repeat them 4 times. I felt cheated. It was only years later that I understood. The video didn't lie. I just wasn't ready for the truth, because no one tells you that it will take 600 repetitions before you start to see any results, and that until then, it will all seem pointless. But that's exactly where most people give up, at the exact point when progress is about to happen. That's why living on bursts of energy never works. Because anyone can give 110% for 2 weeks, but only those who give 30% for a year build something. The real world isn't made up of epic moments. It's made up of average days that, together, form something extraordinary. And if you only act when everything seems aligned, you'll spend your whole life waiting for the perfect day, which never comes, because it doesn't exist. There is today, and what you do in it. And perhaps the cruelest part of it all is that the world rewards those who actually do, even if no one sees it, even if it takes a long time, even if it seems slow, because invisible effort is not wasted effort. It is accumulating, transforming, preparing to appear when you least expect it. But for that to happen, you have to keep going, even on days when nothing seems worth it, because those are the days that decide who you will become. What almost no one understands is that resistance never goes away. You may be at your best with discipline, routine, and purpose, and yet at some point during the day, the voice in your head will say, "Not today." That's the battle no one sees. True transformation is not in the visible result, but in the hundreds of small internal victories that no one celebrates. because it's easy to show up when you're inspired. The hard part is sticking with it when everything in you is telling you to stop. And that's why you need to remove what weakens you. Every useless notification, every distraction that steals your energy, every habit that numbs you. All of these things seem harmless, but together, they create a noise that drowns out what really matters. The more you surround yourself with immediate rewards, the less space there is for what is profound. And your brain, addicted to quick pleasure, will always choose the easy way, unless you train it to choose the right way. And that training starts with silence, with space, with conscious choices. You don't have to become a monk, but you do need to start acting like someone who takes themselves seriously. Don't expect perfection. It will hurt. It will be frustrating. There will be days when you want to disappear. But this discomfort is not the enemy. It is the price. The price of living a life that makes sense. Because even the path of giving up comes at a high cost. Guilt, stagnation, regret. And if you're going to suffer, let it be for something that builds you up. Because even if everything is difficult right now, if you keep doing what needs to be done, pride will come. You'll remember why. You'll taste your own triumph. You'll see that it was worth it. And if this video made you think, if at some point in your journey you saw yourself here, then leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to contribute any amount, your support helps keep this work alive and allows more people to access messages that don't package easy truths, but deliver what really matters. If you've made it this far, comment the word resistance below, just so I know you're one of those who stick around until the end, even when the whole world would have given up.